Mark Olson. I'm the director of Kalen's Customer Solution Architecture team.
My name's Pete Bird. I'm a delivery manager in our cloud architecture and engineering practice.
So Pete, in addition to being a delivery manager, one of the things I understand, like you take your glasses off and you're sort of like our network Superman. I'm a little curious from that perspective, knowing that you have a strong background in on-premise networking and now in AWS. Network engineers, like what's the difference that they're going to see as they transition from managing their own switches and hardware and dealing with those things to AWS?
Well, more often than not, traditional network engineering role, there's a lot of manual change, a lot of manual intervention, whereas operating in AWS, everything is codified. We take all of our network configurations and we manage that as code. So changes can be very iterative, they can be very safe, or you can replicate your same network infrastructure you might do in a development environment all the way up through production. And you have the ability to roll back changes, and it's a very safe way to approach networking in the cloud in terms of breaking changes. As we know, all things networking, it's very foundational, and anytime you make a significant change, it has the potential to impact everything. So that's very advantageous for network engineers.
Well, yeah, and the way that I've typically experienced that in my past as an application developer has been, okay, the networking team is very, very change averse, and there's a long change process, and people are nervous, and they want to do this on a Sunday afternoon at 2 p.m. when you're supposed to be having brunch with your family or something, right? So it sounds like that also allows a little bit of the velocity and flexibility that people expect to get out of the cloud because things are testable before you're making a big production change.
Exactly. By the time a change, especially significant breaking changes, get to production level, you've already tested and vetted that in a lower tier environment like a development or a sandbox that will have no impact on anything production. So a lot of times those significant critical change windows will go a lot smoother and with a much higher degree of confidence.
Oh, that's fantastic. I guess the other thing that's interesting about the transition to AWS has been a change in visibility and the tooling that network engineers are going to use to manage the environment. It sounds like my understanding is that AWS is coming along in their ability to observe the environment, bringing some new tools online. One of the ones you were talking about is network firewall. There's some other tools there. So from a day-to-day network engineer's perspective, like what's been the sort of news of the day? What are the hottest releases that you're seeing that are changing people's lives? And maybe a little bit about where we came from, but not too much. Like let's go where we're going.
Sure. Well, traditionally, you normally would have to leverage a third-party tool of some kind to get any sort of network visibility. In AWS, they're continually releasing new services around that sort of thing, where you can build your network traffic visibility into your overall observability solution, regardless of what you're using. So things like AWS Network Firewall now gives you the ability to tie in other services like contributor insights and really get an easy view of who your top talkers are. So finding out who's going where in your network.
That's really wild because, again, back to my previous hat as an architect, as an engineer, knowing that systems are talking to each other in a way that I do or don't expect, and it allows me to sort of make some changes. Maybe I can make some optimizations on the application side, or the way that resources are distributed that allows me to optimize the AWS environment, to optimize the application. So that's really cool.